Now, the government's ambitious plans to get tens of thousands of the unemployed back to work is failing. A Channel 4 News investigation into one of the biggest agencies involved in the work programme, A4e, shows only 3 in 100 people on its books are getting a job lasting more than 13 weeks. That's way below the target the government set the company if it wanted to keep the contract. Our social affairs editor, Jackie Long, has this exclusive report.
Their pledge to improve people's lives by getting them back to work.
People must have these skills to be job ready. Tick the ones that you feel you're okay with.
But tonight we reveal figures which show A4e are improving the lives of very few. We've obtained the first real data on the work programme, a programme billed by the government as a revolution in welfare to work. It simply has to succeed. But we have performance figures from A4e, the second biggest contractor on the programme, and the early results are far from good. The figures show from last June to March this year, more than 114,000 people have been put on the work programme with A4e across the UK. Of those, 21,500 have started work. That's just over 18%. But only 4,020 have stayed in work for more than 13 weeks. That's a success rate of just 3.5%, not even reaching the government's minimum target of 5.5%. This is the latest setback for A4e, made famous by its high-profile chair, Emma Harrison.
Hello everybody, I thought you'd like to hear it first. There's some hot news and everything.
She caused outrage after paying herself a dividend of more than £8 million and later stood down after a flurry of allegations about fraud at the company, allegations always vigorously denied. These performance figures, though, have come as no surprise to the company's critics.
That is deeply, deeply depressing, that out of every 100 people referred to them, only 3 people are in work after 3 months in the job. That is just an abysmal performance. This is a multi-billion-pound programme. And if it's not succeeding in its purpose, which is to help people out of work get back into the labour market, then again, I think we have the right to know.
Philip Hammond says he's one of the people the company has failed. He's been on their books since last Christmas and says he's never been referred for a job interview and has only had 2 phone calls from the company in the last 6 months.
They're telling you there is no money, Philip. We can't do nothing for you. All we can do is, you have to go out and look for a job. But 99% of people can do that anyway, and that is all these are offering. They're not offering any real, tangible, intensive support. That's why it is a bit of a, it's a scam, basically.
Across the country, A4e's figures fall short. One of the worst areas is Newham in East London. A4e have almost 3,000 people signed up, but just 92 have been in work for over 3 months. Contrast that with the local authority-run job scheme. Newham Council told us they'd found work for 5,000 people in the last year. There are more than 17,000 people on the work programme with A4e here in East London alone. But even here with the Olympics, perhaps Britain's biggest job creation scheme, A4e are still only getting around 3% of people into jobs lasting more than 13 weeks. These figures raise serious questions about A4e's performance, but also about whether the work programme itself is actually working. We took our figures to economist Ian Mulhern at the Social Market Foundation think tank. He agreed to analyse them without knowing the name of the specific provider.
They're getting 3.5%, and that's very, very poor indeed. Most obviously, it's a reflection of over-ambitious projections from the DWP about what was possible with these programmes. For example, they have said that providers would have done substantially better than this if they'd done nothing at all.
So they'll have to accept that it is not working?
I think the government will have to accept that it's not working. I think there's no real way that they can change the figures that will be in front of them.
The government says it can't comment until official statistics on job outcomes are released in the autumn. But with one of the biggest contractors providing such poor figures almost a year in, meeting even the most basic work programme targets look a mammoth task right now.
Well, I'm joined now by our social affairs editor, Jackie Long. Jackie, what is the company at the heart of all this, A4e, saying?
Well, they don't dispute our figures. They simply say they can't talk about it at the moment. It's not the right time. And we had a similar response from the Department for Work and Pensions. They say that official statistics will be out in the autumn. The department did go slightly further, and they said that to draw any conclusions on the figures we have would be, in their words, ludicrous because of the time frame. Now, the slight problem I have with that is our figures cover the first 10 months of the work programme. The government has set minimum standards, minimum targets for the first 12 months. Now, A4e, even with 2 months to go, are falling well short of those minimum targets, and I think that is a problem.
So what is the government going to do now about the work programme, do you think?
Well, the government has said that for any company which is failing to meet minimum standards, they could go in and take the contracts away. Do I think they'll go in and take A4e's contract away? I think that's unlikely, but what I do think we might see is a shift in the way the work programme itself is structured, perhaps a bigger payment up front, more financial support earlier in the process, because don't forget, some of the smaller charities which had been working with the work programme had to abandon because they said they simply couldn't make it work financially. Absolutely critical will be the figures from the other providers whenever they do come out, because I think if they are struggling the way A4e appears to be struggling, then the work programme will be in some difficulty.
Jackie, thanks very much. John?